The ancient symbols carved into the obsidian monolith seemed to pulse with their own inner light as archaeologist Eric Thorne brushed centuries of dirt from their surface. Hidden deep within the Oregon forest, this discovery would make his career, if he could prove its authenticity. The stone stood 12 feet tall, covered in intricate patterns that resembled no earthly civilization he'd studied. "Impossible," he whispered, running his fingers along the smooth grooves. The moment his palm pressed against the central spiral, the world exploded in violet light. The monolith hummed with energy that made his teeth ache. Reality twisted around him like heated glass, and suddenly he was falling, not down, but forward, through layers of light and shadow that burned his retinas. His scream was swallowed by the cosmic wind. Eric crashed onto soft, luminescent grass that cushioned his fall with an almost deliberate gentleness. Pain shot through his left shoulder and ribs as he rolled onto his back, staring up at an alien sky painted in shades of amber and rose. 2 moons hung like pearls against the twilight, while crystalline trees towered overhead, their branches singing in harmonious chimes. "Where, what?" His voice cracked as he struggled to sit up, his archaeological training warring with the impossibility before him. Footsteps approached, light, graceful, purposeful. Through his blurred vision, Eric saw her, tall and elegant, with pale purple skin that seemed to glow from within. Dark curls framed a face of ethereal beauty, her large violet eyes studying him with curiosity rather than fear. She wore flowing robes that shifted color like oil on water. "You're awake," she said, her voice melodic but speaking perfect English. "I am Princess Kilira of Varelia. You fell from the sky near our sacred grove." Eric tried to stand, wincing at the sharp pain in his ribs. "I need to get back." There was a portal. "Peace, stranger." Kilira moved closer, her presence both commanding and oddly comforting. "The gateway has closed. You're safe now, but gravely injured. Come, my healers will tend to you." As consciousness faded, Eric caught the scent of her perfume, exotic flowers and starlight. The last thing he saw were those violet eyes, holding secrets deeper than the void between worlds. Eric awakened in a chamber that defied earthly architecture. Crystalline walls curved impossibly upward, their surfaces alive with shifting patterns of light. A warm, golden glow emanated from veins in the ceiling, while the bed beneath him felt like sleeping on captured moonbeams, firm yet yielding, radiating gentle heat. "You've been unconscious for 3 days, came Kilira's voice. She sat beside his bed, her purple skin luminous in the ambient light. Gone were the formal robes, now she wore a simple, form-fitting garment that accentuated her graceful figure. "My healers mended your bones, but your body needed time to adjust to our world." Eric tested his shoulder, amazed to find the pain gone. "I need to return home. My team will be searching." "Impossible." Kilira's tone was gentle but firm. "The shadowlands between here and the portal site are filled with predators. The Council fears your presence might destabilize our political balance with neighboring territories. You must remain here until it's safe." Over the following days, Eric explored the palace in wonder. Gardens floated in mid-air, tended by beings of pure light. Libraries contained books that wrote themselves as he read, adapting to his comprehension level. The cuisine was extraordinary, fruits that tasted like symphonies, wines that induced pleasant visions of distant nebulae. But it was Kilira who captivated him most. She guided him through her world with infectious enthusiasm, explaining how their matriarchal society had achieved harmony between technology and nature. Her laugh was like silver bells, her touch electric when she steadied him on unfamiliar staircases. One evening, as twin moons rose over the palace spires, Eric found her on a balcony overlooking the city. Bioluminescent towers pulsed in rhythmic patterns, creating a symphony of light. "It's beautiful," he admitted, standing closer than propriety suggested. "As are you," she whispered, turning to face him. Her violet eyes searched his face with an intensity that made his pulse quicken. "Your world must be very different." "Lonely," he found himself saying. "Compared to this." When she reached up to touch his cheek, he didn't pull away. Her skin was warm silk, her proximity intoxicating. For a moment that stretched into eternity, they stood on the threshold of something profound, until duty called her away, leaving Eric aching with unexpected longing. The palace library's crystal walls displayed ancient texts in flowing script as Kilira revealed the truth that had haunted her since childhood. Eric sat across from her, watching the symbols dance in the air between them like living things. The prophecy of stars speaks of one who will come from beyond the sky river, she began, her voice carrying the weight of generations. He will bear no marks of our world, possess knowledge of distant suns, and unite the fractured realms through love. Her violet eyes met his. My grandmother, the late Empress, believed this consort would restore balance to Varelia. Eric felt a chill that had nothing to do with the chamber's temperature. You think I'm some prophetic figure? I'm just an archaeologist who touched the wrong artifact. The prophecy has guided our people for millennia. Every decision about my future, my rule, my marriage, all centered on waiting for you. Her confession carried both hope and desperation. But what began as duty has become something deeper. That night, Eric attempted escape. The palace's defenses were subtle but effective, corridors that led in circles, doors that sealed when approached without proper authorization. He found himself on the same balcony where they'd almost kissed, frustrated and trapped. Kilira discovered him there, her expression a mixture of hurt and understanding. You would truly leave this behind? Leave me? I had a life before this, Eric said, though the words felt hollow. Colleagues, research, a world that knows me. A world where you were alone, she countered, moving closer. The twin moons cast her an ethereal light, making her seem more goddess than mortal. Tell me you felt nothing yesterday. Tell me this connection between us is merely prophecy. He couldn't. When she took his hands, their warmth sent electricity through his entire being. The loneliness he'd carried for years, the academic isolation, the failed relationships, the sense of never belonging, all of it seemed distant when she looked at him like that. I'm scared, she admitted, vulnerability cracking her royal composure. What if the prophecy is wrong? What if you're meant to leave? What if I'm holding on to something that was never meant to be mine? Eric's resistance crumbled as he saw her not as a captor, but as a woman terrified of losing the only genuine connection she'd ever known. The space between them dissolved as he cupped her face, thumbs tracing her delicate cheekbones. Maybe we write our own prophecy, he whispered, before claiming her lips in a kiss that felt like coming home. Their kiss ignited something primal and profound. Kilira's lips were soft as rose petals, tasting of exotic nectar and starlight. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily, the air between them charged with electric tension. Eric, she whispered his name like a prayer, her hands tangling in his hair. The formal distance she'd maintained crumbled entirely. I've dreamed of this moment since I first saw you. He traced the elegant curve of her neck, marveling at how her purple skin seemed to glow brighter under his touch. This is madness, he murmured, even as he pulled her closer. We shouldn't. Shouldn't what? Feel alive for the first time in our lives? Her violet eyes blazed with passion and defiance. I am tired of duty dictating every heartbeat, every breath. Tonight, I choose. She led him to her private chambers, a sanctuary of flowing silk and ambient crystal light. Here, away from the weight of prophecy and politics, they were simply two souls drawn together across the vastness of space. Every kiss was a revelation, every caress a small death and rebirth. Kilira's skin was like silk beneath his hands, warming to his touch as bioluminescent patterns traced delicate pathways along her shoulders and arms, marks of arousal unique to her people. She gasped softly as he explored these glowing trails with his lips, her body arching against him with exquisite responsiveness. On my world, he whispered against her throat, we have legends about goddesses who descended from the stars. And on mine, she breathed, her fingers tracing the planes of his chest, we dreamed of warriors from distant suns who would steal our hearts. Their lovemaking was tender and passionate, a fusion of two worlds, two souls finding perfect harmony. In the aftermath, as she lay curled against his chest, the twin moons casting them in silver light, Eric felt something shift inside him, a recognition that perhaps home wasn't a place, but a person. But dawn brought reality crashing back. Urgent chimes summoned Kilira to the council chamber, where her advisors waited with barely concealed disapproval. The neighboring kingdoms grow restless, her chancellor intoned. They demand to know why you harbor an off-worlder. Some call for his surrender. Eric watched from the shadows as Kilira faced the pressure of her position, seeing how the weight of leadership isolated her. When she glanced his way, her eyes held both love and anguish, torn between her heart and her duty to her people. The attack came at dawn. Shadow creatures from the Darklands breached the palace defenses, their forms writhing like living nightmares. Eric found himself fighting alongside Kilira's guards, his archaeological knowledge of ancient weapons proving surprisingly useful as he wielded a crystal sword that hummed with energy. "They're after you," Kilira shouted over the chaos, her own blade dancing through the air as she cut down attackers. "The neighboring kingdoms have allied with dark forces to destabilize our realm." Eric fought with desperate courage, protecting the woman he'd come to love. When a shadow beast lunged at Kilira from behind, he intercepted it without hesitation, the creature's claws raking across his chest before his blade found its mark. As the last creature fell, Kilira rushed to his side, her hands glowing with healing energy as she tended his wounds. "You could have been killed," she whispered, tears streaming down her luminous cheeks. "So could you," he replied, cupping her face gently. "And I couldn't live with that." The battle had changed everything. The council, witnessing Eric's loyalty and bravery, began to speak differently of the off-worlder. The neighboring kingdom's aggression had united Varelia's people, and Eric found himself no longer seen as a threat, but as a protector. The prophecy spoke of unity through love. Kilira's grandmother's spirit appeared to them in the crystal chamber, her ethereal form shimmering with ancient wisdom. "But not the love we expected. You, child, have found one willing to sacrifice everything for your people. And you, star-touched one, have discovered that home is not where you came from, but where you choose to belong." Eric stood at the crossroads of destiny, the portal's location finally revealed to him. He could return to his old life, to familiar surroundings and predictable days. Or he could stay and build something extraordinary with Kilira. "I spent my whole life digging up the past," he said, taking her hands in his. "But I'd rather build a future. With you." Kilira's smile outshone both moons as she kissed him deeply, their love witnessed by the crystal trees that sang in harmony. The prophecy was fulfilled not through ancient words, but through the simple choice to love someone enough to make their world your own. As they stood together on the palace balcony, watching the twin suns rise over Varelia, Eric knew he'd found something worth more than all the archaeological treasures of Earth, a love that transcended worlds, and a home written in the stars.